I do know that the kindness that I can show myself now is what was missing before. And the fact that I can stop and try to see things from another point of view. Can I tell you a story that happened just this week with my sons? So we have a parent retreat on the second story of our house, and we've always lived downstairs because we wanted to be close to the boys near their bedrooms. But last week we moved upstairs. And my middle child, he's 5, every night for the last 10 nights has come up to our room at 2:00 when he cuddles, saying that he feels scared and alone. And that was nice the first night, but I was getting really tired. I couldn't cope. It was too hard. And I think in the past I would have just said, just suck it up and sent him back to bed crying and just gone up and gone to sleep and then felt guilty about it. But because I have some of these skills now and I'm a bit more aware of what's happening, we got to have a really good chat about what was going on, all 3 of us, the 3 boys and me, about what was actually going on and why he was feeling that way. And it turns out because it was a guest room upstairs, he was worried that we were going to leave because all the guests come, they stay up there and then they go home. And so that's what he was worried about. So he was checking every night that we were still there. And if I hadn't taken the time to actually dig a bit deeper and figure out what was wrong, we wouldn't have had that nice conversation.
Hello there and welcome to Wild and Finally Fucking Free, where midlife isn't a time of crisis but a time of metamorphosis. Just like the journey through puberty and pregnancy to postpartum, our midlife transition is also a powerful portal of rebirth. The wise woman inside of us is calling, inviting us to slow down, to take stock, to speak our truth, to burn away all that no longer serves us, ready to step forward into our next phase of life. I'm your host, Kylie Patchett, storyteller and midlife self-care coach, and together we'll unearth the real and raw stories of women who are right in the messy, magical middle, or have come out the other side, and the healers who help all of us through these crossroads of change. I hope that as you listen to these tales of breaking the ties that bind, shedding skins, and courageously chasing midlife dreams, that you too will answer the wise woman's invitation and set yourself wild and finally fucking free. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I have the beautiful Nina Vesic. I was going to get it right, but I didn't. In the podcast room today, we have so much to talk about and too many interlinked things that I have also lived through. So I'm really looking forward to this chat. So welcome, Nina. How are you?
Hey, I'm great, Kylie. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to share all this stuff with you.
Oh, that's so good. I know we were in a mastermind together and when you were talking about what you do, I was like, oh my God, I needed you about 18 years ago. So for those who do not know already of you, could you please introduce your beautiful self?
I will. So I am a mindful parenting coach. I started my business a few years ago, predominantly because I have 3 little boys and I need to be a mindful parent to them. And so I was struggling when the youngest was born. I did a mindful parenting course and it just totally transformed my life. And I realized that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to share mindful parenting with others so that they can transform their life, live their calmest, best life. So I started Mindful Parenting Lifestyle and I'm learning more about mindfulness, self-regulation, communication tools, and really delving into those things that we think that we have to live with, all this anger and this activity with our kids, that it's just part of the season, but we actually don't have to, and there's ways that we can work around it. So that's what I do. That's what I share. And then my 3 boys teach me every day.
I said, how old are they now? What are they?
They are 3, 5, and 7.
Wow.
So
okay.
My youngest just started kindergarten this year.
Oh, nice.
So it's still very full on in my life.
Yeah. I am relating so hard to what you say about we think that this anger is just the way it is. And I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, the way that I was parented. I had 2 very different parents and, in 2 different households. My mum was a person who was pretty much lived dysregulated. So anything caused outbursts and reactivity. And then the flip side of that was her own shame and guilt around the outbursts and the reactivity, which then I created this persona as a kid of having to fix that for her. And so it was just very messy.
You became a grown-up.
Yeah, exactly. I did very early. I'm just learning how to be a kid at 50.
Nice.
Like literally. But the other parent that I had he was 55 when I was born. So he was much more settled in himself and really grounded. And he'd had this huge life before me. So very wise and quiet and completely non-reactive. But I don't know, when my kids were little, I just felt like it was inevitable that I also would be a yelling, screaming mother.
Yeah.
And I look back now and I go, why did I accept that? But I just thought that was just, like you said, just
the norm.
the season. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I think and particularly I know a lot of our audience is that midlife kind of thing. I'm really glad that there's different ways that are being more talked about and more awareness, so that when our kids have their kids, if that is what happens in the unfolding of time, that we will actually have access to some of these tools as well, and not just think it's just inevitable for another generation. No, it's not. Can you tell me a little bit more about, so when you said, like you actually said in one of the answers, like you wanted to get your anger and overwhelm under control.
Yes.
Can you take us back to when that was the reality for you and how you felt at the time, and how did you even find mindful parenting? What was it that kind of turned the light on?
Turned the light. So I remember significantly one day, it was just after my third had been born, and I was in bed. It was in the morning. I was in bed and I heard my husband outside with the younger two, and he was yelling at them for something. I can't remember what it was. And I was and then in that moment, I just felt so frustrated. I just felt, oh my God, I don't want to live in a house where all we do is yell at the kids, because I knew that as soon as I got out there, that's what I would be like as well.
Yeah.
I was in my little peaceful bubble with my newborn while he was asleep. But I knew that in 5-10 minutes, I had to get up. I had to go out there. I had to deal with these kids that were upset because their dad just yelled at them for something. Yeah. And then I would get upset because they were upset. And it's just like this never ending, like a rut that you get into.
Yeah.
I would wake up, like my first moment of my day, I'd be thinking, I'm going to get through today. Almost like when you're on a diet and you're like, I'm not going to cheat today. Exactly what it's like. And then you get to morning tea and you have your chocolate muffin.
Oh, yeah, screw it.
And then you just yell. And then for the rest of the day, you're just stuck. And the rest of the day is just like, when is he coming home from work? When can I have a break? When do I get to have fun? When can I? And that's all that it was all day. Looking at the door. I remember sitting at the door just waiting for it to open so he could come home. Yeah. And it was horrible. And you think this is supposed to be this magical time, but it's not. And we put all this pressure on ourselves. So that's what I was feeling. Those were my feelings. I was trying to do everything, and you're trying to do all the arts and crafts. You're trying to feed them healthy. You're trying to be nice, have no screen time, blah, 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 blah.
The list of being a good mum, according to someone else.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And I knew something had to change. Like I knew, and I'd been looking at podcasts, listening to a couple, and I'd tuned into the Mindful Mama mentor podcast, and I'd listened to some of hers, and she was doing like some free sessions as you do. And I listened to her free sessions, and they clicked, like they just clicked, some of the stuff she said. And I was like, and so she was running a course. So I did her course. And so within the first week of doing this mindful parenting course, I saw changes immediately, just starting a 3-minute mindfulness practice every day.
Amazing.
And I was very resistant to it. I always thought meditation and mindfulness was just hoo-ha, woo-ha. Like,
I'm still resistant to it, Nina. Still.
Ah, look.
Even though I know that it's so good for me,
Yeah.
I have I have a lot of resistance at the moment. Anyway.
I can totally appreciate that, because that's exactly where I was.
Yeah.
But I thought I'll do these 3 minutes every day. And during the 3 minutes, I'd look at my watch and I'd be like, oh, come on.
Time's a ticking. Come on.
Yeah.
Got to get on with this.
I know. But after the first week, and I saw how my reaction time had reduced, how I was able to pause before yelling. And before I knew it, I was craving a 5 or 10 minute meditation. Like, it's quite weird. Yeah. And so I did the full course. I saw all these changes. Life was getting better. And I've always had this need to have a job where I help people. Mm-hmm. And I could never figure out what it looked like. And then the lady that ran the course was offering teacher training.
Ooh, the light bulb really turns on.
It did. Within a day, I'd signed up. And it was based in the US. It's a US course. And I was getting up at 10 a.m. or 11 p.m. Every Thursday night for 4 or 5 months to tune in for 2 hours to do the training.
That's commitment.
And it was so good. And so then I became a teacher trainer in this program, and it's made me embed the skills more and be more determined, because I think you can do a course, you can use it for a month or two, but then it just drifts off. And so when I teach the course, I do the full 8 weeks, but then I have a membership where they're continuously reminded of all the tools and stuff. And there's a community of parents trying to achieve the same goal as you. That's really how it all evolved. That's the story.
I love this. I love this so much. I'm actually working with a client who I'm writing copy for at the moment, and she has now got a grown-up family, but her purpose is also to help people to basically nourish the mother and therefore the entire family unit, this ripple effect. 100%. And as you're talking, I love that Viktor Frankl quote between pause and response is between stimulus and response is a pause, and in that pause is our power.
A choice to make a decision.
And the power of those tiny little moments where you actually fill yourself up. It just makes so much sense to me. And like I said to you before we started recording, I look back at most of the time we were, relatively calm parents, but I definitely also had this story that I had to, parenting was like a serious business, because I had such a strict checklist in my head of how to be a good mother, particularly when my parenting was different to what I wanted to create. And those things included baking everything from scratch and blah, 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 blah. I got myself a Thermomix and such pressure.
Much pressure.
Having the perfect craft activities. And we never ever put our kids in daycare because we had this big thing about, we're not going to do that. We're not going to force them to develop early, blah, blah, blah. And I look back and I just think, you know what? I made it harder than what it needed to be. I was trying to attain some ridiculous perfect goal, and in doing that, I stole away all the beautiful moments that I could have actually been enjoying, instead of ticking off a mental to-do list that no one else gave two craps about, just totally internal pressure.
And I think that's the shift, isn't it? Because back in the day, like maybe when our grandparents were kids, they could do all that stuff because there was, I feel anyway, there was more of that community. So the videos of the 50s and stuff in the UK where they all live on those long houses that are joined together. I don't know what they're called. But the kids are running around and every house is their home. So you could go and get food there. And the parents, and maybe I'm wrong in assuming this, I've watched Call the Midwife way too often.
I love it.
And you had that sense of community, and parents helped each other a bit more. And I grew up in a small country town, and I feel like that was a lot more like that kind of community. In the cities, it's not so much. But those lists of things that we feel we have to do. I remember one Easter, it was after my son was born, so the first Easter, and we were sitting on the couch while the baby was asleep. And I was saying to my husband, I can't just sit here and do nothing. Like, I feel like I have to put the washing on. I have to clean the kitchen. I have to vacuum. I can't sit and relax because I've got so much to do. And he's just sit and relax. You don't have to do anything. But that feeling that I wasn't enough, that I had to do more, I couldn't rest. And looking back, like now, I know that rest is such a vital part of being able to keep going.
Yeah, and exactly.
Acknowledging that you need the rest, allowing yourself to have rest, scheduling in rest to your diary if you can. You don't have to do the jobs while the baby sleeps. You don't have to sleep while the baby sleeps. You just have to rest, have a cup of coffee, read a book, watch a movie.
Whatever it is that, I think the concept of rest, like I still feel like, I don't know, the 80s came and we were given this idea that you could have the family, have the career, have the this, have the that. Wow, we get to have it all. And then you see those memes everywhere. And we also have to do it all by definition. Like that's what we've brought. Some of us have invited in. And I certainly was trying to do that. Like I was trying to manage a medical company, had 2 babies at home. My dad had just had a stroke, so he'd moved in with us. Like I look back now and I just think, what the actual F were you thinking? There is no way a normal human being would be able to stay sane in all of those different competing pressures. But because it repeated the chaos that I grew up in. So to me, it just felt normal.
It just was normal, yeah.
And that is, I think, what I really want people to hear. Even if your young parenting has done, like you get to be part of something different for maybe the next generation as well.
Yeah.
And also, there's a lot of people that are having kids younger, so I shouldn't assume that if you're in midlife that you're not with littler kids. Yeah. I think. What would you say to someone it's not, because the blocks to this resting for mothers, is it still the idea that it's the mother's job to take care of everybody else and you're like the last one in the priority list? Yeah. Have we grown from that? That was definitely my mindset, but do you find that's the biggest block?
In terms of the rest? Yeah, I think the to-do list can just get so out of hand. And I think there's 2 types of to-dos. There's the must-do, like cooking, or providing meals. I won't say cooking, providing meals.
Yes.
Providing clean clothes and providing a house that's not full of disgusting mold and stuff like that. Yep. So they're like the must-dos. But then you don't, like what you said, you don't have to bake from scratch. You don't have to iron. Like you don't have to. I don't wash my floors every week. Like I don't do that. I don't know how people can even. I didn't do that before I had kids. So I think trying to take some of that perfection out of the picture and even thinking of ways that you can make it easier is a way to provide that rest. I have a cleaner that comes once a fortnight. I've been lucky enough to be able to do that. And I sit, and some days if my boys are sick and I'm at home while she's here and that she's mopping the floor, we can't play. So we're sitting on the couch watching a movie while she's mopping the floor, and that feels weird.
Yeah, I remember.
But, it's about taking those times when you can to rest, or another way is incorporating those acts. So if you need to bake with your kids and make it a fun activity with them, don't put the pressure, don't wait till bedtime to do some of these things. Can you incorporate them into it so that then at bedtime you've got more time to rest? Yeah. And it's that whole thing, putting your life oxygen thing on before the kids. You need to be able to do that, because you can't parent if you're tired, or if you're overwhelmed, if you're depleted. You can parent, but
you can, but not very well. Not the way that you would like to.
Exactly. How about we say that? Yeah.
Because then there's no judgment in that. I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm like, at the same time that I had external pressures that were pressures, obviously, that were just reality, like 2 kids and my dad not well and whatever, I also had this ridiculous perfectionist. Like I look back at some of the ways that I did things. Anyway, that's fine. I would wait until everyone was in bed to do my baking from scratch, because I was such a neat freak. I couldn't handle my kitchen being out of control. And now I actually look back and with great self-compassion and a lot of grace for myself, look back and go, you were so dysregulated. You also had undiagnosed ADHD, which doesn't help, but also tipping into almost, I won't say that I had OCD, but that very like everything has to be controlled because I'm not safe if I don't know what's going to happen, and things being untidy. Like I'm still like that now. If my office is untidy, for instance, I've got to clean it out because my head feels untidy. And I just think that's part of my personality. But so much internal pressure. So it was not just the external must-dos. Yes, I must look after my dad and take care of my kids and provide meals. All the shit that I added to that, I just think.
I know. All this stuff. And some of that stuff, especially with the ADHD and the OCD and things, you don't have control on the needing to have control, right? So it's like catch-22. Yeah. If you could let go of some of that control, then it's 100%. Just like a recurring thing. Yeah. And I guess, and I really like how you said then, Kylie, that you look back with self-compassion, because it's easy to judge our past selves, but we parent how we parent because of the skills that we have and the resources that we have at the time.
Yeah.
Just like your mum parented how she parented, because that's what she had available, and your dad, that's what he had available. And as long as we look back with self-compassion, we don't shame ourselves on how we've done things in the past. And then that's how we're able to grow, isn't it?
Exactly.
By not having shame, you can have guilt about things. And the guilt is actually something that can help you to grow.
Yes.
And
definitely.
to learn and appreciate that we do what we do with what we have.
Yes, 100%. And I think now I'm so grateful that part of normal discussion and vocabulary, and part of it is because of social media, but we're talking about nervous system regulation versus dysregulation, and why some people are more sensitive to some stimuli, and why we can have. I always used to think, I actually used to think when I was younger that I was some really there was something wrong with me because I had so much anger. And I'm just like, no, you were dysregulated. Your anger was unexpressed from decades past, but the dysregulation and the disproportionate reaction to things.
Yes.
Now I look back and I go, oh my God, if someone just told me I needed to just love up my nervous system and take some deep belly breaths, or when I'm just about to lose my shit, actually put myself in timeout and, disconnect myself from the stimulus so that I can calm down. When you say, because you've also trained in mindfulness more so modality as well. So I'm guessing you're laying it on top of what you, which is beautiful. I've got goosebumps. Very cool. So you mentioned to me that you also help your kids understand how to regulate themselves. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I think that's such a
big
key
piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, and it's not, and then it's not everything has to come from mum. It's like in my well-resourced moments, I can help other people around me to understand how to resource themselves. Hey gorgeous, we interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I did some training with Head and Heart Mindfulness to become a mindfulness instructor. So predominantly teaching children, but also the same skills that can apply to adults as well. So with my boys, we do a lot of mindful breathing. We do a lot of gratitude practice, and we do a nightly meditation as well. So I have to say at my son's school, they have a great program which is teaching them all this. And so I think the two of us combined, we're doing really well.
Yeah.
When my eldest was in kindy, his teacher said that he has a very quick reaction to things. He gets angry very quickly. And I think he's still got a bit to go, but he acknowledges now when he does have those quick reactions. And he is learning how to pause and how to keep himself calm. And so, yeah, so we have this beautiful routine at nighttime where we all say what we're grateful for the day. We used to do mindful breathing, but it got a little bit out of hand and just made bedtime way too late because they all wanted to do their own mindful breathing.
Now I need a drink of water.
Yeah. And then I put on a meditation, which is, it's a weird meditation. It's more of a story, which has a little lesson in it as well. So teaching them these skills is important, but I think role modeling the skills is also very important. I feel that I'm getting angry or getting stressed out, I verbalize what I'm feeling. So I'm feeling really angry right now, and I do a really obvious mindful breath. So I might do the waterfall breath where you put your hands above your head and go, shh. So they can see I'm not just closing my eyes and breathing, I'm doing an action. So they can see that's what I do to help them with their regulation. And
so good.
My son now, when he sees me start to get angry, he tells me to do it at breath. He goes, deep breaths, Mum, deep breaths. And that's really cool.
So cool.
And the school has taught them this as well as, and this is what I also teach, is the different parts of the brain treated like animals. I don't know if you've heard this. So the prefrontal cortex is the wise owl. The amygdala, which is the part that with the flight, fright and freeze, is the guard dog. So when you're angry and you're stressed out, your guard dog gets really big to protect you, and then the wise owl has to swoop in and calm him down. So it's a great kind of picture of what it's like. So if I can see that he's getting cross, I'll say, is your guard dog really big right now? Where's your wise owl? Can you get your wise owl in to help you out? And that really helps as well.
Oh, so good, because then it's giving language and also a visual cue, which is so good for kids, about what's more active in me at the moment. And I think too, like before I started studying like yoga and meditation, and I came to it when my kids were little, and I just remember thinking, how did I not know that if I was in this reactive state, I'm not able to problem solve? If my emotional being is fired up, and particularly in that fight and flight or lizard brain, I used to call my lizard brain, Brian is up. And just those simple things that now your kids, and they'll be role modeling that at school and in their own. Like,
I hope so.
Just imagine the ripple effect that, you know, when they're somewhere when they're a teenager, and rather than being the kid that bops someone on the nose or being awful, is able to calm their farm enough to go, oh, maybe not a good idea, maybe not the best solution.
And then even if they have lost it, if they do react, my eldest does have a habit of reacting quite quickly, as I said, we can talk about it afterwards and say, what could you have done in that situation? Even, would you like to have another go at handling that situation that way? And the other thing we like to do is yoga poses. We do lots of yoga poses. And my son was in a dance class. He started dance classes, and the teacher told me afterwards that as they were doing all their stretching sequences and stuff at the start and the end, he kept yelling out the name of all the poses.
And she was like,
pose.
Yes.
Pose.
I used to, cool. My kids, when they were kind of the middle years of primary school, we've moved around a lot, and also now looking back, ADHD. Anyway, but when we moved to the Sunshine Coast hinterland, they went to a barefoot Buddhist school in Malini, which was just, oh my goodness, heaven on earth. It was like 60 acres in the rainforest, beautiful river through it. Was called River School. Still around at the moment. Kids still talk about being there and the fact that they had their lessons outside. There was no structure. It didn't follow, it still satisfied the curriculum of Queensland, but it was completely student-led. Such a good school for them, amazing. Understanding and developing themselves as full humans, not just a brain on legs like a lot of school systems do. And when they were there, I had been learning yoga and meditation for a little while and shiatsu. And so I started going to the grade 3 class. It's so cute. Oh my God, they're so cute at that age.
Yes.
To the grade 3 class and teaching yoga and breath, but also different shiatsu points to act one that brings the energy down in the top of your hand and those types of things. And I remember this one lesson, the teacher's like, you know what would be cool? We could get colored pens and we could draw all these points on us. And I'm like, oh my God, this school is like the best place ever. So these kids all had like permanent marker dots where it's like
all over their body.
This is where I can sad, I can, and I gave them little mantras and stuff. But it's so cool because they like kids, they don't know any different. So they just
absorb it.
Exactly like you said, you model it and they're like, oh, this is how life works. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
This is what we do. And I think what you're saying before about your eldest son, like the rupture but repair. We're not expected to be perfect humans, but when we do something that we later may not like to, that repair piece. And it's just such powerful practices. And I think there's a whole generation of us going backwards and learning this way of being. And that's, what changes in the world when we have a generation of kids that are being brought up like this? What I can't even imagine.
Possibilities.
It's so cool. Like it's like, let's just open up this window of, a different way of being. Which is so good. I am interested in when someone comes to do the mindful parenting course, is there like, how can people check in to see whether they are dysregulated or what sort of, I'm not using the right language, but how do you help them to sense that they actually need some time out or some whatever? Is it just the reactivity or is it kind of a process that you could share with them?
Yeah. So we talk first of all, we talk a lot about mindfulness and how mindfulness works, the effects on the brain. We do some mindfulness practice. So the first week is all just about getting the groundwork.
Yeah, beautiful.
In the second week, we talk about awareness. So there's some nice activities for them to do at home about tracking their triggers.
Yeah.
So just for a full week, writing down when you yelled or when you wanted to yell, what happened, what was the problem underneath. Was anyone hungry? Was anyone tired?
That's what I was laughing about because I was perpetually on a diet trying to be a different size.
100%.
When we have to get
always
to that
hungry.
Conversation too. Yeah, always hungry.
That's right.
And always hungry at 3:00 in the afternoon when the kids came home from school. So that's not a good combination. Yes.
So getting familiar with tracking and what brings things up. Also looking into their past, their childhood, how they felt about certain situations in their childhood, reflecting back on that. We don't go too deep because I'm not a psychologist or a therapist or anything like that, but just touching just to see if there's anything that you might need to go see someone on about any kind of deeper work that needs to be done. So we really get an idea of what makes us angry. Are there any patterns? And then how can we minimize those? So like you said, if you're always hungry at 3:00, let's make sure we have a nice snack at 2:30, that kind of thing.
Maybe, I don't know, eat lunch.
Eat lunch.
Idea.
Who would have thought?
Idea.
Don't go too crazy on me now.
Yeah, I know, right? Blow your hair back.
And then we move on to identifying the difference between when we have a problem and when our child has a problem, because more often than not, our child has a problem and we take that on and then that causes us to be dysregulated when in fact it's our child's problem, not ours. And that's huge. Once you can make that differentiation between if it's my problem. Yeah. So, for example, if you've got 2 children, they're arguing over a toy, that's their problem. We don't need to get involved in that unless it's going to get violent. Someone will get hurt. Yes. We don't need to come in all guns blazing and rip the toy out and say, you go to your room, you do this, be kind to your sister. That's their problem. If it becomes our problem if they're being really noisy and we can't concentrate on what we're doing, but in the first instance, that's their problem. So being able to separate those two, it limits the need for regulation because you don't need to be regulated. That's nothing to do with you. That's their problem.
Yeah.
And then you can do steps to go in and help them regulate themselves. Like it all follows on.
So good.
Yeah.
I, as an only child, had literally no reference point about sibling anything, right?
Oh, God,
so then I had 2 girls, 12 months apart, chalk and cheese, like literally opposite in every single aspect of their personality, even the way that they look, One's super, super neat. One's super messy. Like just so different. And I'm like, who are these aliens? I don't get it, because I just expected that even when my second daughter was born, like my first daughter was born with really long brown hair, like so much so that the sonographer's like, oh, it's hairy. And I'm like, it's hairy, not a nice thing to say. We didn't know it was a girl, but anyway, she did have a huge amount of hair. And then Cleo came out bald, and I was like, that's not my baby. Like, I expected her to look the same. That's not how genetics work. No. I think I'd know that as a geneticist. But anyway, and I constantly tried to get all up in the business of siblings figuring out how to communicate and work ways around things. And so I identified it as my problem, because it's like something is wrong. My children are fighting. Yeah. And my husband, who is 10 months apart from his sisters, this is normal. You don't need to get involved.
Yeah.
But then I think the other thing that was happening was, again, dysregulated nervous system already, and then noise is a real trigger for me. So I'm like, I can't. Now, what I would say to myself is get yourself some loop earplugs, shove them in your ears and ignore them. It feels like that. So the identification of your kid's problem versus your problem is a massive differentiator, isn't it?
It's huge. And from there, then in the course, you learn the different techniques for each type of problem. So if it's your kid's problem, this is what you do. If it's your problem, this is what you do. If it belongs to both of you, then it's both of your problems. This is how you can solve it, that kind of thing. So
amazing.
It's really cool.
And also you're modelling that again. So
it's,
you're actually showing the kid how to solve the problem. So good. So good. I'm super interested, Nina. You had mentioned to me around about the same time that you did the original course, so not the teacher training, you also did a course in intuitive eating, and you said there's all these parallels, and I'm like, all right, let's go there.
Let's talk about this. Yes.
I'm very interested in what the parallels were.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. I love talking about intuitive eating. So I discovered intuitive eating around the same time, again, as my youngest child was born, and I enrolled in this course. I do lots of courses. And so the course, if you've not heard of intuitive eating, I don't know if you've talked about it much on your podcast. It's basically about getting rid of diet culture, no food rules, eating what you feel is right at the time, not putting any pressure on yourself, that kind of thing. It's awesome.
There's no such thing as perfection.
There's no such thing as an ideal body. All bodies are perfect. So that's what I needed, because I was sick of feeling guilty for eating a biscuit. I was sick of it.
Amen.
So I did this course, and with intuitive eating, it's about tuning into your hunger signals and your satiety signals when you're actually satisfied, and not just eating because there's a whole Mars bar, but actually noticing when you feel full or when it stops to be nice, stops to taste nice. Yeah. So the first step of that is to actually learn how to eat mindfully. And so in this course, I think one was up to week 2 and the mindful parenting was week 2. The other one was week 1 or something. Both of the examples to learn this stuff was to mindfully eat a sultana. Exactly the same activity for both courses. And there was a guided meditation, and they were obviously different because they were run by the host of the course. But both of them asked me to eat a sultana mindfully, and I was like, wow, this is cool. And so I didn't choose a sultana. I did a Tim Tam. It was much nicer.
Why the hell not?
And so that's when I realized just how similar these things are. So tuning into how we're feeling inside when we're eating, as well as tuning into how we're feeling with our kids. In this moment, am I feeling frustrated, or am I feeling overwhelmed? Am I just feeling hungry, or am I feeling tired? And when you're eating, thinking about, am I really hungry, or am I bored? Do I need comfort food? And if you do need comfort food, that's not a bad word. Diets tell us we're not allowed to comfort eat, but maybe that's just what I need right now. I just need that. My comfort food is breakfast cereal, which is weird. Maybe I just need a big bowl of cornflakes to feel better.
Yep.
And that's okay. I'm allowed to do that. Just like when you're a parent, maybe I just need to sit in my room in silence for a minute and then I'll be fine. And it's really tuning into how we feel and then deciding what we're going to do to solve that problem or that feeling. Or not even solve it. How are we going to be with that feeling until it passes. That is probably the better way to put it, because you can feel angry, you can feel upset, and how you deal with those feelings, having that toolkit there. Yeah.
So many parallels, because I'm just thinking like back to my perfection list as a parent. I also had a perfection list around what I should look like, how I should eat, that I was either being good with eating or bad with eating. So that blame, shame, blah, blah. And like you said, if you get to morning tea and you F it up, then bugger it. Sort of, that sort of like effort effect. But yeah, the key to both is coming into the present and actually sensing how am I right now. I used to run a course called Destination Delicious, which was more of a life coaching program, and one of the key questions was, how can I honor myself right now? And
I love that.
I was just saying to a friend this morning, the entire self-care part of my business is such a shame at the moment, because I'm totally out of integrity with teaching self-care because I'm not practicing self-care. And she was reflecting back to me, you teach what you most need to learn. I'm like, yeah, but this is ridiculous. But I think that how can I honor myself right now? Or how am I even feeling? And just let me put my hand on my heart and have a couple of deep breaths and go, oh, hi. I'm not just this doing machine that is. And I think that it's so easy especially with young kids, when they have to be at school on time and there's such a kind of set routine. That's so easy to get stuck in the task rather than being present. Yeah. And does it really matter if we're 10 minutes late to school, if it means that everyone gets there feeling resourced, that's exactly right, settled and calm and whatever? Yeah. Yeah, the rules. I will link it in the show notes. I worked with a intuitive eating disorder recovery psychologist when I was first in recovery from binge eating, and we recorded an interview in season 1, which is a long time ago, but I will link it. Her name is Bianca Skillback. And we talk about all of this bullshit and also the farcical idea. And it's similar to the parenting thing, like what is an ideal mother, an ideal parent, an ideal family, an ideal communication style? Like there's no such thing. And I would say, particularly with 2 so different kids, one communication style doesn't work for both kids anyway. So like you don't even bother looking for the perfect one. But I think, there's those parallels of I'm trying to attain this certain goal, but I haven't actually looked at the goal itself. Like I haven't even questioned.
What does it mean?
What does it mean? And what do I value? What do my husband and I value? What do we want our family to feel like? And like you said before, like the yelling when you were sitting in your bedroom with a newborn, I remember feeling like that was like, this house is like a battleground. Yes. I don't want to feel like this, and I don't want to continue that environment because it had so many kind of similarities.
And you know what? As you say that, I'm thinking like when I was in that dieting mind frame, it was like my mind was a battlefield. Like it was constantly figuring out what I'm going to eat, figuring out when I'm going to eat it, looking at menus at restaurants, not wanting to go out. Back in my uni days, I'd meet a friend for coffee and I'd have a black tea because I didn't want the calories from the milk from the coffee. Yeah. And I hated black tea. And the constant thinking about, and when you can't have food, you think about it more, right? Mm-hmm. So constantly thinking about all this food. And I was talking to my husband about it maybe a year or 2 ago since I started the intuitive eating, because I'm not a skinny size 6 person. I'm not the person on the catwalk. And I do feel I have moments where I get self-conscious about that. But when I think about how much richer our lives are, because we can go out for dinner, because we don't have to cook 3 types of vegetables with every single meal, I can have a drink in the evening and not feel that guilt or that failure. It opens up so much space in your mind to just not worry about that stuff anymore. Yeah. It's quite amazing. And when you let go of the perfect parenting and you parent the best that you can at the time, that leaves a lot of headspace as well. I made a rule, Kylie, when my kids were born, and I tell all my friends with newborns, these are my rules when I had a newborn. I don't apologize for being late. I don't apologize for a messy house. I don't apologize for taking 2 days to reply to a message. Don't apologize for not washing my hair or for wearing a tracksuit. And that just takes a big weight off as well, doesn't it? Like
Permissioning.
I could never be the type of person that wears makeup every day because I just can't be bothered.
I can't remember the last time I had makeup on, literally.
And I have people come over after school and I might tidy up so there's not magnet tiles all over the floor, but I don't clean or anything. Like, this is me. This is who I am. Yeah. I'm not going to try to show that I'm a perfect person.
Yeah.
And I think when I do my social media stuff, I don't try to portray the perfect parent. I try to be honest about the situations, about how hard it is. And I do have a messy house. I do serve chicken nuggets and chips. Like, that's just life. And I think the more that we embrace that and share it with people instead of always trying to be the perfect person, I think it's just going to help society, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. I
take that pressure off.
Totally relate to what you're saying in both aspects. The seeking of perfectionism in any area is so freaking exhausting because it takes up so much bandwidth. And when you said life is richer, oh my God, yes, 100%. Because I'm not constantly thinking if I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing. I'm just living and enjoying whatever unfolds in life. And sometimes you're not enjoying it, but also not then going, oh, now I have to rush through this bit to get to the good stuff, which is totally what I used to do. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, like we're just about to go away over the weekend. Our kids are, grown up, they've got partners now. And we made this rural family decision last year that we weren't going to do Christmas presents, that we would just go away for a family weekend because who needs more stuff? And we're going to this place at the beach. We'll be right on the beach and I'm just so excited about it. And I am so much more able to just squeeze the juice out of life.
Yes. Beautiful.
Because back when I was obsessing about what I was eating or even trying to parent correctly, like I used to have this stupid rule on Saturday mornings we had to clean the house. Why? Why? Because that's what happened in my house when I was a kid. Yeah. And I never even questioned it.
That's what people do.
Yeah, that's what people do to be okay. And I totally agree with you. These rules, like most life-changing rule that we ever had, we went on a cruise for our 10th wedding anniversary. So our kids would have been like 5 and 6-ish. And on the cruise, like you have different restaurants, and one of their favorite restaurants was the smorgasbord because then they could pick a little bit of everything. They tried different food that they hadn't tried and whatever. And when they came back, I remember, I think it was Abby said, oh, can we have smorgasbord? And I'm thinking, that sounds like a lot of hard work. And then I was like, hang on a minute. And I opened the fridge and we had this one long platter. And so smorgasbord night became a regular feature where you literally just got the boiled egg out, the bit of cheese, the celery, the carrot, like whatever. And still to this day, my kids talk about smorgasbord night. And yet back then I was trying to do the perfect, like, blah, baked from scratch. And that's not. So, that's the juiciness of life and the richness.
Yeah.
I so relate to that because, this agenda of the right way and the wrong way, it just gives us our, like, I don't know, a stick to whip ourselves with. And we're never, ever going to feel like we're getting it right anyway. Because even if you get it right one day, the next day, life happens.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I love that. How has the way that you feel like when you had that moment, when you had the newborn and that was like the battleground scene out there.
Yeah.
How do you feel about parenting now versus what it used to feel like?
I think I get a lot more joy from it now. I do still find it hard. Like, it is still hard. There's still challenging moments every day and I don't always get it right. But the difference is I don't guilt myself anymore. I show myself that compassion so I can still enjoy it. I think being able to see how my boys have been learning from my role modeling has been really great. When they tell me to calm down, I love it. It's annoying, but I love it.
I'm like, go coach me.
Yeah.
I am the coach.
I'll calm down. But then it's just, I think you can't never look back retrospectively. If I'd never done the mindful parenting course, what would I be like now? I've got no idea what I'd be like now.
Yeah.
But I do know that I am the kindness that I can show myself now is what was missing before. And the fact that I can stop and try to see things from another point of view. Can I tell you a story that happened just this week with my sons? So we have a parent retreat on the second story of our house, and we've always lived downstairs because we wanted to be close to the boys near their bedrooms. But last week we moved upstairs. And my middle child, he's 5, every night for the last 10 nights has come up to our room at 2:00 when he cuddles, saying that he feels scared and alone. And that was nice the first night, but I was getting really tired. I couldn't cope. It was too hard. And I think in the past I would have just said, just suck it up, and sent him back to bed crying and just gone up and gone to sleep, and then felt guilty about it. But because I have some of these skills now and I'm a bit more aware of what's happening, we got to have a really good chat about what was going on, all 3 of us, the 3 boys and me, about what was actually going on and why he was feeling that way. And it turns out because it was a guest room upstairs, he was worried that we were going to leave because all the guests come, they stay up there and then they go home. And so that's what he was worried about. So he was checking every night that we were still there. And if I hadn't taken the time to actually dig a bit deeper and figure out what was wrong, we wouldn't have had that nice conversation. We wouldn't have been able to let him know that, no, we're not going anywhere. We've just moved. That's just our new bedroom, that kind of thing. And that's those proud moments where you just think, wow, I was able to help him with that feeling. I was able to figure out what was wrong. And all the 3 brothers all kind of talked about it together to try to figure out what was wrong. Why did he keep having to come upstairs? And that was just yesterday, but it just made me realize like how far that I've come on the journey and how I wouldn't have been able to do that before because I wouldn't have known how to. And I would have thought he's scared because it's dark.
You would have made the story.
Exactly.
You would have interpreted for him rather than being curious and actually going, oh, of course that feels scary and threatening to you because you don't want mum and dad to leave. Okay, now I understand it. Now we can.
Yeah. And so he didn't come into our room last night for the first night in about 10 days. And we made a plan. So at 6:00 he could come straight up. And that's what he did. He waited till 6:00. He knew we were going to be there and he came up. And it was really nice, Kylie, to be able to feel that sense of gratitude for doing the mindful parenting and learning about myself and how I respond to situations instead of just getting mad at 2:00 and sending him back to his room. To be there and comfort him and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
That was my little story.
Yeah.
I'm pretty chuffed with.
Yeah. You use the word kindness to yourself, but it sounds like both unfold at the same time. So I can be kinder and more present to my kids, and I can be kinder and more present to ourselves. So I think maybe if someone had talked to me about this stuff before, I may have felt like it was just something else I had to give my kids, and it was going to cost me more emotional bandwidth, and I was already feeling fried. Whereas I think what you've just shared really is a beautiful demonstration of how gentleness and kindness becomes a way of, and we're not saying 100%, but more of a default than it may have been previously. And so 100%. Then you can also have a default of that towards yourself.
Oh, yes.
Like how beautiful.
Yeah.
You're reminding me somewhere, I think it might have been on Instagram. I haven't listened to the actual episode, but Rich Roll was interviewing someone, a gentleman who was a parent. He was telling this story. I don't even know who this is. So there's literally no reference point, but I just want to share the words.
Yeah.
Because it's resonating with what you just shared. His daughter, who was about 6 or 7, was on his back and she was holding on to quite tight around his neck. And he said, I said to her, hey, hang on. And then when she got off his back, he could see that from her body language, she had been impacted by the way that he interacted with her. And he said, he said something like, I'm noticing that you might have, he didn't put words into her mouth, but did you feel something then when Dad reacted the way that he did? And she said, yeah, I thought you were angry with me. And the phrase that he kind of repeats is, no matter what happens, you're always loved and you're always safe. Yeah. And I just thought,
got it.
Good Lord.
Right,
like job done, tick, okay.
Yeah.
But how cool, because then she has the skills to be able to do that to other people and notice. And it's also reminding me, Jane Foster, who we just interviewed about 4 episodes ago, she teaches emotional resilience in schools, and she was talking about the way that in the schools that have introduced her way of looking at emotions, which she just describes as rough and smooth, which I love, because it's
Very
not good or
cool.
bad. It's just rough or smooth. And are we on the road and kind of the car's doing okay, or are we out of control? That kind of the
Interesting.
And she described a conversation that happened in the school where someone who'd been identified and labeled as a bully did something that would have been interpreted as bullying. And the new school reaction, and also what they've encouraged students to do, is, are you okay? Back to the bully. And I'm just like, holy geez Louise. So we've now just not labelled the kid, not labelled that the behaviour is a problem, just that the behaviour is saying a message, and maybe that person needs some gentleness and kindness. Yeah, exactly. Amazing. Oh, so grateful for people like you and people like her and the work you're doing in the world, because like we said before, what happens to the world when we have, and also anyone out there with girl children around the same age, I think you're going to keep putting your numbers towards Nina, because there's something on that. Holy moly. Men that actually can speak about their feelings and resource themselves. Totally in jest, but thank you. Oh my goodness, so much gold that you've shared. Can you share where people can find you on the interwebs?
Yes.
And we'll link the intuitive eating episode, but I really want people to be able to find you, because I know a lot of people are going to be going, hang on a minute. Like you, there's a little spark that's going, investigate.
Good. I am on Facebook and Instagram, Mindful Parenting Lifestyle. Instagram has some of those underscore thingies.
Yeah.
And I've got my website, mindfulparentinglifestyle.com.au.
Perfect. We'll put all of those in the show notes. Thank you so much.
Nice to chat, Kylie.
Really so good. Oh, so good to share your wisdom. And I'm very much appreciating the parallels that you've shared between, the intuitive and because it's just another example of impossible standards and disconnection from ourselves. So if you can come back to connection with yourself and learn kindness, then it ripples.
100%. Definitely.
Job done. Thank you so much, Nina. Thanks so much.
Thank you. So good. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in, my friend. And if you enjoyed this ep, please share it with another midlife friend, or take the opportunity to go and rate and review the show on your favourite listening platform. All of these things really help us to reach more women in midlife. Now, I don't know if you know, but I am both a storyteller who helps healers and helpers capture and communicate their work through the magic of storytelling, and I'm a midlife self-care coach who is super passionate about helping other women reframe perimenopause and midlife as a powerful and purposeful time of transformation. To find out more about me and my work, you can head to Instagram at Kylie Patchett, or my website, kpcreative.com.au, and that is kpkreative.com.au, and you will find all of those links in the show notes. Have a spectacular day, and may you be setting yourself wild and finally fucking free.